Are you tired of dragging yourself through the work week, feeling like every day is a monotonous grind? What if I told you that there's a way to transform your 9 to 5 from mundane to magical? Today I'm going to show you how to sprinkle a little enchantment into your work life, turning the most ordinary task into moments of joy and fulfillment. So if you're ready to unlock the secrets of main character energy and add some romance into your daily grind, then this is the video for you. Hello and welcome. If you're new here, my name's Rachel. Due to a recent layoff, I am currently in between jobs, but I've been working since I was 15. From food service to office cubicles and working from home, I've gathered many different tips and tricks over the last 18 years. Today, I am so excited to share with you some of these insights in order to help make your work life more magical. Some of these tips are going to be just general, so they can apply to you no matter what industry in, or if you work from home, or if you commute into an office. Towards the end of the video, I share tips specifically for working at home and going into the office. The first tip I have for you, and I think this is the biggest game changer, is just simply changing your mindset. Most of the time, a simple change in mindset can be the difference between having a really bad day and having a great one. Try reframing "I have to do this" to "I get to do this." Trust me, I've had my fair share of bad jobs and bad experiences going to work, but shifting my negative thoughts into positive ones about working and going into my job has really made a huge difference for me. Having positive vibes and a positive mindset puts me in a better mood to start my day, and it puts a smile on my face, which makes it a lot easier to go in and do my job, especially if it's boring or if I'm working in a dull, poorly decorated, poorly lit office. So the next tip is to just simply practice gratitude. Remember that the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and even though things could be better, they could be a lot worse. One thing that I was constantly reminding myself and being thankful for at my last job before I was laid off was how lucky I was to work at home. So with all of the return to the office stuff happening, I just felt so grateful that my company kept saying that they had no plans to put us back in the office and that I was able to stay at home, which was so much better for my mental health and my productivity. Another thing that I was grateful for at my previous role was having a lot of PTO so I could take time off if I needed to, as well as having a flexible schedule if I needed to work a little bit later that day because I had something going on in my personal life. I was able to do that. So I know the things that I mentioned may seem like it's not a big deal or they may seem small, but there's quite a few people that I know that didn't have as much PTO as I did and weren't able to have a flexible schedule. So I considered myself really lucky to be able to have that. Find the joy in little things, like noticing the seasons change while you're on your commute, or just taking a moment to notice the world around you. So one of the things that I liked to do when I was commuting into the office was trying to get the window seat on the trolley. And I would just spend my commute looking out the window, seeing what was new or different from day to day, watching the seasons change. There was a little wooded area that the trolley would always run through, and I would always see deer and nature. And so I would just take a moment to just admire the world around me and appreciate those little things. The next tip is to create a morning routine. A rushed morning can set a really stressful tone for the day, so I recommend establishing a morning routine where you get up in plenty of time to get ready for work and be able to make the most of your morning. Establishing a simple and easy morning routine can be a really great start to your day to keep yourself calm and collected and positive, and you can transfer those vibes from the morning through the end of your day. Right before my company switched us to work from home, I was waking up early and doing 5 minutes of yoga before I got my shower and got dressed for the day. And just that 5 minutes of moving my body, waking myself up gently, and taking deep breaths and just focusing on my mind and my body really made a difference. And I really enjoyed doing it. And when I switched to working from home, instead of doing yoga in the morning, I started going outside as soon as I woke up and took a walk if the weather permitted, of course, and got the sun in my eyes, the sun on my skin, and just feeling the warmth of the sun to help wake me up and reset my circadian rhythm, and that made such a huge difference in how I felt for the rest of the day and even how I slept later that night. So adding something like movement or a mindfulness meditation or positive affirmations in your morning before you go to work can really help change the way you feel as well. So along with having a good morning routine, try having an after work routine as well. I think it helps to take a moment to decompress after you are done working and switch yourself from work mode to personal at home mode. So activities like journaling, meditation, maybe taking a nap, going for a walk. So anything like that can help you unwind and switch off work mode. So some of the things that I do to switch off my work mode, it really just depends on my mood and my day. Sometimes I like to do a 10-minute meditation. Sometimes I'll simply just lay down on my bed and do some deep breathing and pet the cats. When I worked in the office, Kevin and I typically came home at the same time. So as I was walking back from the trolley, Kevin was pulling in and parking in front of the house. So we would come upstairs and have coffee or tea and sit at the table and just talk about our days, relax, have a chat with each other. That's something that was always really nice because not only am I decompressing and turning off my work mode, but I'm also connecting with my partner, and Kevin's doing the same thing. So it was really positive and healthy for both of us. And now that I work from home, when I hear Kevin open the front door to our apartment building, I will go to our apartment door and the cats know that he's coming home, and we typically always greet him at the door. So I open the door and Toulouse, the gray cat, runs onto the landing and greets Kevin, and we all say hello and all the cats come out, and that's just one of like the best part of our days is just like saying hi to each other after being gone for so long and not seeing each other. And it's just like a really great way to like end the workday and start our personal life and our home life. Next tip on the list is to curate your playlist. Whether it's a relaxing, calming jazz playlist, or maybe it's like a pump up EDM playlist, music can definitely set the tone for your day. When I was working at Starbucks and I had to get up really early in the morning and take the trolley into work, I would play like hip hop, EDM music to get me awake and get me pumped up. So I really needed that morning energy boost from my music that I was listening to get me through that crazy busy morning rush at Starbucks. So something else that you can listen to is audiobooks. So at my last position as an analyst, where I was doing things that didn't require me to talk to customers, clients, or really my coworkers, I would put my headphones on and put an audiobook on. It made the work so much easier, and it went by faster, and it was also much more enjoyable to do the work while I listened to the audiobook and like entertained my brain a little bit while I was doing tasks that were kind of like boring or dull. Next tip on the list is to take frequent breaks. I'm a big fan of the Pomodoro method, and that's where you work for a certain time frame, typically 25 minutes, then you take a 5-minute break, come back and work for another 25 minutes, and you do that 3 times, and at the end of your third Pomodoro, then you take a larger break. You also don't have to do a 25-minute Pomodoro. You could do a 50-minute, which is the one that I did. I would work for 50 minutes and then take a break for 10. So taking frequent breaks can help with your productivity and your creativity. So when I was in the office, when I would take my breaks, I would do a couple laps around the office, go get a drink of water, maybe check in with a coworker, see how they were doing, run down to the bottom of my building and get a Starbucks, because I worked in a building that had a Starbucks in it, which was really cool but also kind of dangerous sometimes. And then when I started working at home, I just kept my breaks going. So in the morning, my first break, I would brush my teeth, take my vitamins, and then my second break, I would make my bed or put my clothes away or fold my clothes or something. So just anything like that to reset yourself and give yourself a little bit of a recharge and just kind of switching up what you're doing definitely helps. It also makes it easier to go through your day and stay more productive. Speaking of breaks, the next tip is to take a short walk. So that's something that you could do on your breaks as well. I typically always took a walk during my lunch break. I had an hour and I would go outside and I would just walk around the building. I would get fresh air. Not sure how fresh it was because it was downtown Pittsburgh, but I would get the sun on my face. Even if it was cold out, even if it was snowing, I still went outside and took a walk. And of course, when I started working from home, I did the same thing as well. I would go for a walk every day on my lunch, and I still try to do that now. So taking a short break during work can switch up the scenery. It gets you outside and it can help with your energy levels and boost your creativity and give yourself a personal ritual to do while you're working. The next tip on the list is to not eat at your desk. I used to be one of those people that would eat their lunches or their breakfast at their work desk, and to be honest, it definitely made my meal less enjoyable. So moving my location of where I ate my lunch, just like taking a break and just like taking a walk, helped change up the scenery, gave me a refresh. It also allowed me to be more mindful about my eating habits and my food and just enjoy my meal more. Additionally, if you're working in the office, changing up where you have your lunch can lead to more social connections as well. Maybe you could have lunch with a friend, have lunch with a coworker, or if your building or your work has outdoor seating, you could go out there in the summer, enjoy the beautiful weather and the sunlight, and have your lunch outside, which sounds so amazing or romantic. That's something that I did when I was working at my office in the spring and summer, and even in the fall if it was still warm enough. Make sure you're keeping your lunch and your breaks away from the area that you're doing your work and setting some personal boundaries. So the next tip on the list is to use an essential oil diffuser or light a candle. Creating a pleasant environment with scents can really help boost your mood. When I was working in the office, I did purchase an essential oil diffuser that lit up different colors. I would put a drop of this oil called Focus into my diffuser, and it smelled so good, and it always just put me in the mood to focus and to work. One thing I do want to caution though is that some people are sensitive to scents, so I did ask permission to use this with my coworkers and made sure that it didn't bother them because I didn't want to upset anyone's allergies or sensitivities or anything like that. So please make sure that if you are working in an office, you ask your coworkers first before you put any scents or essential oils in there. And if you work at home, then you have the option to light a candle or light some incense, and that's something that I do frequently, especially in the fall when I can keep the windows open and I can light my pumpkin scented candles. That's like one of my favorite things to do on a fall morning is light that candle and have my pumpkin spice creamer and smell my pumpkin candle. The next step on the list is to greet people. Say hello to the stranger in the elevator. Say good morning to your coworkers. Compliment the person's outfit that you like. Ask someone where they got their handbag. I don't know about you, but if I'm going on my morning walk outside and I pass someone during my walk and they say hello and smile at me and I say hello and smile back, that puts me in a good mood. That makes me feel like there is still kindness in the world. So if I feel like that just from someone saying hello to me on my morning walk, then I'm sure other people feel the same way if I'm saying hello to them. So that's something that I always try to do, is say hello to others during my morning walk. And when I worked in the office, I would do the same thing. I would say hello to the baristas as I got my coffee in the morning. I would say hello and smile to the people on the elevator. I would greet my coworkers as I was walking in. Not only that, but if you're putting out positive energy into the world like that, then I definitely think that that positive energy is gonna come back to you. The next tip is to start your day with journaling. So this is something that you can put into the morning routine we talked about earlier, but starting your day with journaling is a really great way to just get a clear vision and clear your head to have a really great day ahead, even if it's just 5 minutes. One thing that has made a drastic change into how I start my mornings and how I keep the positive vibes going throughout the day is the 5-minute journal. The 5-minute journal just asks you a couple prompts in the morning. It asks you to list 3 things that you're grateful for, something that would make today great, and it asks you to give today an affirmation. And then later that evening, you go back in and fill out 2 more questions. What did you learn today, and what were some highlights from the day? So filling that journal out every day can help you practice gratitude and keep a record of some of the awesome things that happened to you during the day and lessons that you learned, as well as have a positive affirmation and mindset to move forward with the rest of your day. Something else that you can experiment with if you have more time in the morning is morning pages. Morning pages are longhand stream of consciousness writing. You do have to write 3 full complete pages. This is something that I discovered in the book/course The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. The only downside to morning pages is that if you're writing 3 full pages by hand, it does take a lot of time. So if I had a half hour in my morning, then I would have time to do the morning pages, but that's something that you can incorporate as well if you have the time to do it. The next tip is to capture your work-life moments. Take photos and videos of your outfits, your commute, nature, things like that. When I was working in the office, I was constantly taking pictures of the way the fog was rolling in between the buildings in downtown and how pretty it looked. Pictures and videos of storms rolling in from one of the higher floors on the buildings that I worked at, where you could see the skyline of the city. And for a while, I was even posting my work outfits on my old Instagram page. So documenting these moments can bring a sense of appreciation and joy to your everyday life. Additionally, it gives you something to look back on. So in 10 years from now, you can look back at the photos that you took and be like, oh yeah, I remember that day. The next tip is to savor your breaks. Enjoy a snack, read a few pages of a book, or do a short mindfulness exercise like breathing practices or a meditation. Use these moments to fully recharge. Another tip is to create background ambience. Use background ambient sounds like coffee shops, nature, or white noise to create a pleasant work environment. When I was working from home during my last position, I would listen to focus binaural beats videos on YouTube. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Sometimes I would just listen to ambient focus music. I also like to listen to like upbeat lo-fi music. If I was having a stressful day at work, I would put on relaxing jazz playlists. And other times I would put on a comfort show, a show that I've watched a million times and I didn't really need to pay attention to. So for example, in the fall, I would put on Gilmore Girls in the background, or I would put on Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and I would just have that playing while I was doing my work. I will actually list a couple of the focus videos that I mentioned below in the description box, so you can check those out as well. The next tip is to personalize your workspace. This is something that you can do at the office or at home. Put up photos and decorations that inspire you and show your personality. Have pictures of your family, your friends, your pets. I personally did not decorate my cubicle when I was at work. My cubicle was very boring and plain working, but I think now if I had to go back into the office, I would personalize it a little bit, maybe by adding like an office plant or something like that. But personalizing your space and decorating it to your taste and what inspires you, I think can definitely help put you in a positive mindset and make you want to be in that area and enjoy your time being there. So we just finished the general tips that I had, and now we're going to dive into the work from home tips. So I have 2 work from home tips for you. The first one is to get ready. So even if you work from home, getting dressed, not working in your pajamas, and grooming yourself can really boost your confidence and your productivity. When I started working at home, I bought loungewear and matching sets, and it just made me feel so cute and confident and ready to start my workday. Something else that always just made me feel like put together and ready to work was putting on jewelry. For some reason, the act of putting on jewelry for me was like adding like a little bit of sparkle to my day. To be honest, having jewelry on gave me the that girl vibes, and it just made me feel like I could conquer my day and take on anything. So the next tip is to make sure you separate your work life from your personal life. It is crucial to maintain boundaries between work and home life, especially when you're working at home. Take regular breaks, avoid logging back on in the evening after you already finished your workday. And if possible, try to designate your workspace or your desk into a completely separate area of your home and make sure that area is only for work. Having that separation can help you switch off work mode. Next up are the office tips. Bring comforts from home. You can bring in small items like a reusable mug, tea bags, hand lotion, or a houseplant. All those things can make your office space feel more like home and feel more welcoming. Something else that you can do is add pictures of your family, your kids, your partner, your pets. So when I worked in the office, I did bring in a reusable owl mug, and I also brought in some tea bags and honey. So sometimes in the afternoon on one of my breaks, I would just go to the break room and make myself a little mug of tea. So that's something that I enjoyed doing because it made my day feel more cozy and made me feel more at home. Next in office tip is to treat yourself. So this is something that I did in the office quite frequently, especially since we had a Starbucks in the bottom of our building. Typically once or twice a week, I would go and get myself a coffee, or I would go and have lunch with a friend and we would get pizza from the pizza shop in the cafeteria, or go somewhere else and have lunch. And that always just made the day easier and it gave me something to look forward to. So the last office tip that I have for you is to dress up to go to work. Okay, so hear me out on this one. While it's important to wear what makes you feel comfortable and to express your individual style, I believe that dressing up for work can boost your confidence and really help create that main character energy. Even if your dress code at work is relaxed and allows you to wear jeans, you could dress those jeans up by wearing a blazer or a pair of flats or boots, or adding some funky jewelry. Something else that can really help you get that main character energy is dressing up like your favorite movie or TV show character. So some examples could be Blair Waldorf, Fallon Carrington, Lorelai Gilmore. Or for the guys out there, maybe you want to dress like Chuck Bass and have a signature scarf. So that wraps up all the tips and tricks that I have for you. Remember that even the smallest changes can create moments of joy in your daily routine. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you check out my Unemployed's Diary playlist, where I take you along my journey of being laid off and facing unemployment. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to connecting with you in the next video.